and in year 4, Parris Campbell joins us right now on the Payless Liquors hotline. Parris, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We hope you are as well. Today technically is an off day. We heard Jeff Saturday say Victory Monday, see you on Wednesday, and I think we heard that cheer back in Indy from you guys in the locker room in Vegas. What is an off day to you?
Man, the off day is just another day to get an advantage step for the week. It's a day to take care of my body, man. Relax, get away from ball, but don't get too out of tune. So, like I said, just take care of my body, fuel the right way, recover the right way. And I think of it on the all day as an advantage day.
Parris, I want to go back a little bit on the clock here, and I'll use kind of an example of this. I don't recall when it was. Kevin, when did we do the knockout with Parris Campbell at the Pacer game? Was that last
sometime
December?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, last year,
yeah.
Okay.
I try to forget about that, Parris.
Yeah,
I think I missed 7 straight layups to start
Kevin
the game.
was gone early, so you wouldn't remember that he was in the game. Now, it came down basically to myself, you, and Fred Jones, who was the ringer, right?
Yeah,
you were pretty good shooter. Like, the three of us had a pretty good little rhythm going there in terms of our free throws.
Absolutely.
But I thought it was applicable to your career so far. And by that, I mean, and I hope you don't get offended when I say it this way, but I will admit to it. You hung around longer than I expected you to. And by that, I mean there were times where I wondered if Parris Campbell was going to be a reliable player for the Colts because of injuries primarily. For you personally, can you take us through psychologically whether or not you also had those same doubts and how you fought through them?
Yeah, I think I 100% had those same doubts. Obviously rookie year, the injuries that I had 3 different surgeries that year. It was the first time I've ever had to, have anything surgically repaired or anything of that nature or miss time. So that year was tough for me, but I didn't really truly, feel kind of the doubts yet. I think my second year going in, excited to be back, be healthy. Going in, and we played Jacksonville week 1 that year, had a good game. I could kind of see the tide turning for myself, and then week 2, tear my MCL, PCL. That by far was the hardest thing that I had to endure as a football player. And, that rehab was so tough. I really couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel just because, I was going through so much, and, I didn't seem to be making progress with my knee. And so I had doubts of, will I be able to get back to the player that I once was? Will I get back to, being able to kind of come prove myself in this league? Will I get my opportunity to do that? And, I think year 2 is really when those doubts set in. But the 2 things that really kept me on a positive note is, number 1, my faith, and number 2, my family, man. Those 2 things go hand in hand for me. I'm really big on those 2 things, and that's what kind of carried the load for me, just, when I was struggling mentally, struggling physically. And then obviously, going into year 3, having to kind of, almost reinvent myself after the knee injury because, man, like you gotta do so much to get back from a knee injury. And, kind of going through camp in the first 5 weeks of the season, it was tough for me, man, because I really never had a comfortability level that I felt, good at. And so obviously, week 6, scoring the long touchdown versus the Texans, but getting hurt on the play, it was kind of just like, oh man, like this is happening again. Like, is this really worth it? Almost, you know what I mean? Like, is everything that I've gone through really worth it? And I just kind of, seeing that door close once again on me in year 3. And to be honest, those same doubts set in, but they didn't set in as hard because what I had going through with my knee, man, like I felt like I could overcome anything. And that was a big thing for me. Like I was able to stay positive through my foot injury in year 3. And, I just was able to stay motivated through it all.
Showing up on my time hop today, not to bring up this memory, was your broken hand and the picture of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I say this in all sincerity. It's one of the grossest pictures I've ever seen. So
it was brutal. It was brutal.
Oh, man. I can only imagine. I wonder if you are feeling this, because I feel it watching you play. Like, and again, Parris Campbell joins us right now. You go back to the Jacksonville game, back to the Tennessee game last month. Like, you had big catch outings in both of those games. But I look at the two plays you made against Washington, one on the screen, one on that jet sweep, which you took for like a 30-yarder, the touchdown last week. I look at those plays and think to myself, that's Ohio State, Parris Campbell. Like, that is, I think, what I think everybody kind of envisioned when you're drafted. Do you feel like you've now shown in these last couple of games like almost a different gear than we've seen in flashes through your first couple seasons?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that, like, you know, you said people thought they would see that, you know, in the league, and shoot, I thought I would see that in the league. You know what I mean? Like, I know the type of player that I am. But yeah, I mean, those plays, you know, show, you know, the type of player that I can be. And that's just what I've been wanting to get back to, man. That's what I've dreamed of doing in this league, man, just being a playmaker, obviously being available for my team. But, you know what I'm saying, like, it's been a long road. It's been a long road, but I can 100% say that, like, I'm playing right now, like, I have the most confidence that I've ever had in the league. I'm having the most fun that I've ever had in the league. And obviously, you know, that's all just because I'm available, you know, I'm healthy, and I'm able to go out there and make those plays. And, you know, my coaches are giving me opportunities.
So you were like in kindergarten when he was in high school, but you went to the same high school as LeBron, correct?
Yeah.
So how often did LeBron come back and hang out at your high school, and, like, how many times did you meet LeBron?
Yeah, well, I actually met LeBron a couple of times. You know, he came back during the NBA lockout. He actually came and practiced with our football team. Like, he came out there in full gear, and this dude was out there practicing, running routes, snagging footballs, like it was nobody's business. Dude looked like Megatron out there. But so that was one time, and then he came back. He used to come back to a lot of games, you know, come and watch games. And then my senior year, he came back and did a whole, like, Nike unveil for the uniforms. Like, he got new uniforms for every sports team. And he did, like, an unveil for the football team, our uniforms. We had, like, a black alternate that year, so that was pretty dope. And then I always would catch some of his games when he was in Cleveland. So I'd be able to link up with him after the games, you know, talk with him here and there. So it was pretty cool.
When you think about those times when you were in high school and you're getting ready to go to Ohio State, and what you were able to do at Ohio State versus what you're doing now for Indianapolis, did you have to change your mindset in terms of the style of receiver you were going to be? Because and maybe I'm wrong here, Parris Campbell, but I thought of you as like, okay, you're going to be the deep ball behind the defense receiver for the Colts. And I feel like you maybe by necessity, you changed exactly what style of receiver you are and found a really good niche in that. Am I off base with that assessment?
I wouldn't say that you're off base, just because, you know, my rookie year and a little bit of my third year, you could kind of see that, you know, I would run a lot of deep routes and run a lot of, you know, post routes, pylon routes, whatever that may be. But I feel like I was kind of able to bring my Ohio State, which, you know, I mean, everyone kind of labeled me as a gadget guy coming out of college. I feel like I was able to kind of add that gadgety player just kind of to my short and intermediate route game. You know, I think my routes, as far as, you know, short and intermediate routes, have gotten so much better since I've gotten into the league. Like, I'm really comfortable playing slot receiver in this league, man, and I just feel like I was kind of able to kind of intertwine the two of, you know, the gadget player and, you know, just becoming a natural receiver. So I think it's just, you know, both of those two together.
Were you surprised or in any way frustrated when the Colts made a change at quarterback?
No, I wasn't frustrated. Yes, I was surprised, just because just of the guy that, you know, Matt Ryan is, and, you know, the rapport that he has, and I mean, this guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day. You know what I mean? So definitely was surprised with the decision, but I wasn't frustrated. You know what I mean? Because at this level, like, we're professionals, man. Like, you know, there could be a change at any time. And, you know, at the end of the day, we still got to go out there and perform. You know what I mean? So wasn't frustrated. You know, I was happy for Sam, you know, because he was getting an opportunity to go show what he can do. I felt for Matt, though, because and Matt knows this. Me and him have so many deep conversations just over the course of the year. But, like, Matt's a big reason why, you know, I have my confidence back right now. Like he's truly a real big reason why that's happened for me. Just because, this guy has believed in me since he stepped foot in Indianapolis, man. Like, he's had my back since he stepped foot in Indianapolis, and he knows that. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, surprised, yes. Frustrated, no.
Were you surprised by the coaching change?
To be honest with you, no, because of just how the season, how the season was going. And to be honest, like, I still, like, feel that the players had something to do with that coaching change, you know what I mean? Just because at the end of the day, like, you know what I'm saying, anyone can lose their job in this profession, and at the end of the day, like, it's about winning. And if you're not doing that, then, there's bound up, for bad stuff to happen. So it's just the way, like, that we were losing, you know what I mean? We were losing some close games, and then to go out in New England and just have, that bad of an offensive performance, I just figured some type of change would come because I'm not, I'm not naive to the nature of the business.
Was it needed?
I don't want to say that it was needed. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the one that's in that chair making those decisions. All I can do is continue to play my 1/11th on the field, continue to do my job. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who has the head coaching job. Like as players, we're like I said, we're professionals. So we got to come to work regardless. And at the end of the day, our job is to do our job, make sure we're doing it to the best of our ability, and at the end of the day, get wins. So it doesn't matter who's at the head coaching helm. Like we've got to come to work regardless.
Parris Campbell with us here again, year 4 for him. The Matt Ryan leadership element. Correct me if I'm wrong, Parris, but when Chris Ballard came in last Monday and told you guys that Frank Reich was being let go, initially he did not mention that Jeff Saturday would be the interim. In that meeting, did Matt Ryan speak up?
Yes, he did, and he pretty much just laid it out there for us. Like basically, what I've been telling you guys. Like at the end of the day, like we're professionals. Like we've been hit with so much adversity as a team throughout this course of the season, and as a man, it's much beyond a football player. But as a man, like when you go through adversity, it's all about how you respond, and so. He basically challenged all of us as players and as men, like, what I'm saying? Like, what are we going to do? How do we want to be remembered? Obviously, it's kind of the laughing stock of the NFL, like with all the chaos that was going on. So, like, how do you really want to be remembered? Is that how you want people to remember you? Is that what your legacy? Is that what you want your legacy to be? So he just challenged us, man, and I think every man took a look in the mirror at themselves and really asked themselves, what can I do to be better? And you felt it just through last week.
I know it's only been a week, but what have you thought about the tone that Jeff Saturday has brought to your football team?
Man, I've loved it. I've absolutely 100% loved it. He just brings a different level of accountability just each and every day, man. Like, number one is he's going to keep it 100% with you. Like, he's going to tell you the real. And just the way that he holds each and every player accountable, no matter if you're the top of the roster or you're the bottom of the roster. Like, everyone has a job to do. And he's going to let you know if you're failing to do your job or if you're doing a good job. You know what I mean? Like, one thing that I appreciated about Jeff is, like, he came in day one, and he just being himself, man. Like, he's not trying to be someone he's not. He's that fire. You can see that fiery player that he used to be. You can see that just kind of coming back out, just with his passion for the game. And you can truly tell that he wants us to succeed and wants us to win. And he just brings a different level of passion, different level of accountability to the team. So I appreciate it. I love it.
Parris, if I'm reading between the lines here, and I want to make very clear, I think Frank Reich is a very good man. I don't think nobody questions that, and I'm not saying that you're not saying
Absolutely.
that. But often in sports they say that coaches need to, no matter who it is, every 4 or 5 years, guys just need a new voice. Was it, in fact, just time for a new voice, for a new energy? Is that a safe statement?
Listen, all due respect to Frank Reich, because Frank Reich is an amazing person. He's an amazing coach. And, I never want that to ever be forgotten. You know what I mean? Because that's just fact. You know what I mean? And Frank was a guy that believed in me. Frank's a big reason why I'm even in Indianapolis. You know what I mean? So Frank was my guy. And, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, we weren't getting the job done as a team, as an organization. So, they may change. And I'm not saying that, Frank is a bad guy. Like I said, like he had a bad voice or he didn't bring the same intensity that Jeff brings, because everyone has their own style of coaching. You know what I mean? And whether you respond well to one way or the other way, I mean, that's just based on the type of player that you are. So I don't, I don't want this to be a competition of Frank versus Jeff, because that's definitely not what it is. But Jeff has definitely brought a different, sense of urgency, and that may be just because of, where we're at as a team, as an organization, or that, that's just who he is. And honestly, I think it's both of those. But I don't want, I don't want to get into Frank versus Jeff, because that's definitely not what it is.
Have you ever been to Paris?
I have not. That's a goal of mine, though.
Yeah, you can go to Paris, Illinois. Paris, Illinois is like 2.5 hours away. You can go there and just tell people you're in Paris, right?
That's hilarious.
Should you get Campbell's, I think, is like a big NFL sponsor, and maybe I'm naive to this. Should you get an endorsement with Campbell's? That seems like that would make sense.
They have NFL commercials.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you guys don't even know. That's been a goal of mine since I was a little kid, man. Like,
Really?
Yeah. I've seen NFL players on there with their moms,
right.
The commercials and all that stuff. That's a dream of mine. So I'm hoping they've been watching some Colts football.
I'm picturing Jerome Bettis, with his chunky soup.
What's your favorite Campbell's soup? That's what I want to know. I'm a clam chowder guy. What is your favorite Campbell's soup?
I'm a classic chicken noodle guy, man.
All right, there you go. Don't mess with success right there. Paris, we will end with this, and really appreciate your time this morning. You've obviously, frankly, have been through hell physically throughout your NFL career.
A lot of chicken noodle soup.
Do you think about the contract year that you're in right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would be naive if I said I didn't. You know what I mean? That's just the real of my situation. You know what I mean? And obviously, I've been through so much, and I've kind of seen the receivers that got drafted in the same year as me. That's in my draft class. I've seen them get their payday, which they're all some of my closest friends, and I'm all happy for them. Send congratulations to them. But my story's different, man, and the thing about me is I won't change, and I wouldn't change anything that I've gone through. I wouldn't change my story because, at the end of the day, no matter what happens at the end of the season, good or bad, you know what I mean? I'm gonna have a story for just so many people across, the platform. Not even football players, just so many people who may just be going through something and just feel like they can never catch a break. My story is going to speak volumes to so many people, man, and that's what I'm grateful for, man. I'm grateful just to be a vessel for God, man, just for him to do his work, man. And I couldn't ask for more. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't ask for more because I'm blessed, I'm healthy, I'm making plays. And ultimately, that's all I want to do, man. I want to help my team win. I want to be available. And, God's allowing that to happen right now, man. And I'm just so thankful for that.
Paris, I'm a huge Clemson fan. They're not going to make the playoff. I know that. Nobody's going to beat Ohio State. And I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not an Ohio State fan, no offense, but nobody's touching Ohio State, are they? I mean, honestly.
Nah. I mean, we you know what I'm saying? We still got to play the team up north in Michigan, man. We still got to get revenge on them from last year. I feel like I lost that game when they lost last year, man. I just hope they win that game and then they roll in the playoffs, man, because it's been a while since we won a natty, man. So I'm pulling for those guys, man. They look good, though.
Parris, I feel like anytime we have one of your teammates on, we kind of end it with hope for continued good health, and I mean that even more for anybody. For you right now with the rest of your contract here and the season you've had. Hell of a year, man. I can only imagine what it means, and I really appreciate your honesty with everything this morning.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. I really do.
Parris Campbell right there on the Payless Liquors hotline.